Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, as usual, before I begin with this lesson, I want to start it off by facing the east, giving all the glory and infinite praise to the true and the only living powers, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakaha Kadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who I'm taught and learn this truth 100% from. Peace and blessings be to you, Akim, Wa'akwati, that are serving Yahweh Shema Shah sincerity, hoping for mercy and salvation in these last days, man. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Shema Shah Barakathum. So I believe I'm probably entitled this lesson. You have to give this truth, all right, also known as, your woman, all right, time in order to grow in the ministry. All right, and I was just reading the book of Sirach, and, Sirach is a book that is heavily going into wisdom. Ultimately, the whole role, right, the whole Bible, man, right, is, a book of wisdom. But when you read in books like the book of Proverbs, the book of Ecclesiasticus, I believe Ecclesiastes, those are all books of wisdom, man. And Ecclesiasticus, it breaks down on how, wisdom, wisdom is a feminine spirit, right? As you'll hear brothers refer to wisdom as Sophia. When brothers say Sophia, they're talking about this wisdom, man, because, of course, brothers may have, ribs and things of that nature. But when you come into this truth, you also have a woman in the spirit, which is this truth, man. All right. And the reason for that is because you give this truth once you be born again through the spirit, this truth becomes your life, man. Right? Your thoughts, your conversation, the way you conduct yourself. You basically make a whole 360 turnaround, and brothers, may end up giving more time to the truth than what they do today, women in the world, man. And for brothers, every brother's life is different. So, brothers may give more time to their women than what other brothers do, depending on their situations. All right, but especially being in these end times, man. All right, this is what we should be prioritizing. This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is all real women, because the truth will never leave us as long as we don't forsake it. The Most High ain't gonna make you just fall out the truth, if you ain't a wicked ass nigga. We all, go off. We all sin. All right, we all fall short of the glory. All right, but the Most High ain't just finna, snatch the spirit from you. If you doing the right things, man. Right, if you in the right spirit and the right mindset. Right, if you have other intentions, then, the outcome may be different, of course. Especially with these times, because the Most High is searching Jerusalem with those candlesticks. All right, he taking Jake's spirit from the left and right. This is why you see individuals coming out saying bugged out shit. You got leaders of these congregations doing foul shit, behind the curtains that you wouldn't even expect them to. Trying to become working on podcasts, worldly ass podcasts, so on and so forth, man. Right, but the point being is that you have to give your woman, right, time in order to grow in the ministry, man. Right, and wisdom, getting this wisdom, not this understanding, should be our main priority coming into these times, because, as I mentioned, this truth will never leave you, man. But your woman in the world, the woman that you got in the flesh, she is very well subject to leaving your ass, man. All right, you look at examples like Job. All right, Job's wife had cursed the Most High. Look at Lot's wife; she looked back. All right, but the wisdom that they had, which was the fear of Yahweh Shema Shah and the spirit to serve him, that's what delivered them, man. And it's gonna be no different with these times that we living in, man. Brothers got to understand, and this not what this lesson is about, but um since it kind of correlates with the topic of this lesson, I can make a similitude out of it. But um I done lost my train of thought. But anyways, brothers just got to understand that you can lose your woman, man. All right, so you got to prioritize this truth so that you got enough oil in your lamp when you gonna need that damn light, when you gonna need that lamp lit, man. Because coming into this truth ain't about just knowing you're an Israelite and stopping there, or just watching lessons with Jake getting cut, or just learning about Revelations 13 and 10. And nah, you gotta actually give this truth time. Right, it's gonna be certain times where you're gonna have to sit your ass down and watch a 4-hour breakdown. I have a conversation with one of the brothers that I camp with about this, shit from time to time, on how we when we came into the truth, we was, younger men. I was like 19, I think Jake was like 18 or something like that. And we ain't had no job at the time, so I remember we used to be on the Xbox all day, just chopping up bad scriptures, going and watching breakdowns, calling each other, chopping it up through the spirit on what we, breakdown that we watched, just constantly growing, man. All right, you supposed to be like a river of living water. Speaking to myself first and foremost, man. Constantly flowing wisdom, constantly getting new information every day, man. All right, you gotta grow in this thing, man. All right, because eventually, if you don't grow, you gonna get rooted out. You know what I mean? Yahweh Shah said that a tree that bringeth forth no fruit, it's basically better to be burnt. If you come into this truth and if you don't put your best foot forward, you don't actually give an effort to try to get yourself built up, then what place do you hold being in the ministry? Because every single last one of us is bricks to that third temple being built as currently, man. All right, you seeing Jake being awakened all across the four winds of the earth. That's that third temple being built, man. All right, the body of Yahweh Shah is coming back together. So if you're not playing your part, because each and every last one of us have a part to play in this ministry, man. Right, whether that's being a prophet, whether that's being just a helpmate, whatever the case may be, you bless brothers every here and there. Not that brothers ask for it. All right, but charity will save your ass, man. All right, you got to play your part, man. Grow in the ministry. So the first scripture that I want to grab real quick is, matter of fact, we can kick it off with that. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be a stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, man. All right. You got to give this woman attention so that, because the trait of a woman, her spirit is to comfort you. You know what I mean? She has a nurturing spirit. You can be stressed out dealing with some shit, and she's supposed to be your peace. She's supposed to comfort you, let you know that you're going to be able to handle it. Yahweh Shema Shah got you. You know what I mean? And he's going to provide a way for you to take care of whatever you need to take care of, man. All right? That's how this truth is going to be. Because this shit going to be worse than what motherfuckers can even just comprehend. All right? We know this. It's going to be more different than what we expect it to be. All right? Because the shit it's going to be a real play ball time, man. All right? Shit going to be terrifying. I'm going to just say it like that. Shit going to be terrifying out here, man. And the only way that you going to make it through these times is if you got enough oil in your lamp, man. Dark times, man. Dark times. So you going to need that oil, which is this wisdom, to navigate, your path, man. Because you're going to be put in certain situations to where you're going to need to know what certain prophets did in the situations they was put in order to make certain decisions. You got motherfuckers that don't even believe that the MOTB is the C-hip. So when you get put into a FEMA camp, you was hearing this whole time like the C-hip is the MOTB. So then when you get in there, you're going to be confused because they was telling you it was white women and shit. All right? Or You may be a brother following Great Millstone. You learning under the correct doctrine, but you watching the truth for entertainment. You know, you may got individuals that don't watch no other camps, just watch Great Millstone, but you not getting built up. You just watching the camps, you know, just to hear certain things, or you see brothers put out a certain title of women getting cut, you know, getting talked shit about, and you clicking on that. All right, because Jake has a low attention span. Jake like to be entertained and shit. All right, so a couple minutes into the lesson, if you ain't bringing up something that's catching Jake's attention, Jake be ready to cut the damn lesson off. All right, so if you is one of them Jakes, you take this time, this grace that this little bit of grace that the Most High is allowing us to have, and get built up, man. Right, attend to that woman, man. All right, because this is the only thing that's gonna be our that's going to allow us to keep our mental composure in these times. Because imagine when, you know, you have no means to even provide for your family. You know, y'all ain't eating, you know, 2 or 3 days maybe. Ain't no telling, you know. And you know, you getting ready to make a carnal decision because you ain't read about the testimonies of our forefathers, the miracles and things of that nature, bro. You got Jakes in the truth that ain't even read the book of Exodus. Ain't even read the book of Genesis. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, come on, Jake. You know, them is heavy books like Exodus. Them was miracles and plays that the Most High was sending and performing. You know what I'm saying? Deep history, important history that Jake should know about. Because the Most High was looking out for Jake. So if you don't know how the Most High was coming through for Jake back then, how you gonna know how he coming in this time now, man? All right. Blessed is he that read. You gotta read, bro. But let's grab the book of 1 Corinthians 7. And I'm going to try to end this real quick because I'm finna have to go pick up the brother. 1 Corinthians 7:29, it says, "But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none." Right? And that don't mean that brothers ain't going to, you know, have time to give their women attention. Certain brothers may just be fully locked in like that. All right? But, you know, every brother's situation is different. But the spirit that you should be in right now is giving this truth more thought, meditating on this truth more, and giving it more time, you know, because the time is short, bro. All right. You know, and like I said, be as though they had no wives. You know, brothers sleep with their women every night. You know, after I come from camp, I'm gonna go back to my woman. But our mindset is not focused on pleasing the women. It's focused on pleasing Yahweh Shema Shah, which drifts us more and more towards, you know, being in this truth. All right, being more profitable and you know, being more progressive in this truth. In other words, man. So let me go grab this last one before I close it out, which had actually you know, this had actually sparked the inspiration for me to bring this lesson out. But this is, let me find it just real quick. All right. Damn. For some reason, I done lost my. All right, hold up. All right, y'all brothers gonna have to bear with me just 1 second. I just had it. All right. All right, so this is the book of Sirach 6. In verse we're gonna grab verse 25. Damn Salaki, brothers. It say, bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For as thou hast, it's like for at the last thou shalt find her rest, and shall be turned, and that it's like it, and that shall be turned to thy joy. All right, so you have to, attend to your spiritual woman, which is this truth, man. All right, to basically get yourself built up, because wisdom is like a feminine spirit. A woman in the world, before she gives the box up, and of course you got a lot of women that just throw it at you now. All right, but before a woman, usually gives the box up, Jake, you have to, put that mouthpiece on her. Tell her the things that she want to hear, do shit for her, take her to the movies, make her feel good, make her feel comfortable, secure. And then eventually she'll give you what you want. Right? She'll reveal herself unto you. All right. She'll eventually get a box up, in other words, man. That's how this truth is, man. All right. The more and more attention you get this truth, the more and more you have by Shema Shah, what's up with you, man. So, with that being said, I don't write to Zah. This lesson was edifying, quick and straight to the point. I'm going to go ahead and enter there. Got to go pick up the brother because I'm finna go to camp. So with that being said, Shalom. Yahabashim Ashabrakatham and Abba.